couple days ago, I asked you guys on Instagram what questions you would like me to answer on a video. So in this video, we're going to answer every question that your mind could have ever possibly asked about fly tying. All the answers. I mean, maybe not all of them, but... Oh, almost got him. Q&A videos are something I don't do just a ton of, and I should probably do more. I feel like this is a direct way for me to answer some of your questions and just, yeah. I mean, that's literally the definition of a Q&A video. So I know I'm going to mess up this name, but Harrison Tingle. I'm not making fun of your name, I promise. But it sounds like pants tingle. Harrison, I'm assuming, asked, do you tie freestyle streamers? And if so, what's your go-to color pattern? So Harrison, I really do tie a lot of freestyle stuff. It's really kind of funny, most of my freestyle stuff is bucktail related, so I tie a lot of freestyle double deceivers, and mostly because I really like to mix bucktail. I just love how mixed bucktail looks. Whenever I do just sit down and freestyle a double deceiver, the main thing that I kind of do is I'll mess with the tails. Like I'll add some different tails to them. Like this double deceiver, it's obviously in like a sexy shad kind of color scheme. It's got the purple and the chartreuse, and I mean, there's a little bit of light blue in there and stuff like that. This tail is a Pacchiarini tail. I'll link them in the description of this video. They've got all sorts of different kinds of tails and stuff like that, and they're just super, super cool. Just adds a little bit of something that, you know, slopping's not gonna give you. But for colorways, I do a lot of fire tiger, gray over white, or gray mixed with black over white, like this is. Yeah, I like that. And then like the sexy shad. I'm a massive, massive fan of these three colorways, and they will easily always be my go-to. Chad Westy asked, incorporating flash into patterns, when is too much, too little, etc. So that's pretty loaded. So I'm pretty outspoken about not using flash just for the sake of flash. And it's a super, super fine line of what I think is too much flash versus what you might think is too much flash. I'm a fan of internal flash. Like flash built into the fly versus tons of flash on the outside of the fly. So kind of what I'm talking about is the breaking the rules sex dungeon that I tied. I think that internally this flash is fantastic. It's so, so good. It's on the inside and it's incorporated with other things, so it's not just punch you in the face flash. I will never, well, I say never. Never's kind of a harsh word, but I don't see myself ever being one of those people that likes a really flashy fly that's just all flash, like a disco ball going through the river. So you can see the internal flash here. It's built into the body. Same thing here. You can see that I've got flash on the inside underneath everything. So what that does is it helps create this translucency kind of thing. Like most bait fish are a little translucent, and that's what I will always shoot for. But then to take a step back, you know, not adding any flash is something I do a lot of. And again, recently I did a product spotlight video on Montana Fly Company's Super Satin Chenille. It's a matte chenille that doesn't have any flash in it at all. So we're actually taking it out intentionally. And I like that look too. This is that crazy woolly bugger I tied with the alien eyes. So basically in my eyes, I kind of think like you can have too much flash for sure, but I don't think you can have too little flash. I think I said that right. I hope you follow. Peter Sheridan asks a very loaded question. Go-to size for articulated streamers. So I'm the first to admit that I, just like everybody else, probably size up too much. Like when I first go to like somewhere I've never fished articulated streamers before, I'm probably going to use a fly that's too big. I know myself, that's what I do. So sizing down is something that I'm trying to work on getting better at, but I'm still not very good at it. So for trout, I'm going to lean in that 3 to 6, 7 inch range, somewhere in there. I feel like that's going to cover a ton of bases. I can size up, size down, whatever I need to do. But I truly, truly think that whenever you're going, especially somewhere new that you've never fished before, back off on the size a little bit. If your first instinct is to grab a 6-inch double deceiver, put it back in the box, and switch that out for like a 4-inch knuckle deep. This next question is probably one I should do a whole video on, but we'll get started on it here. We'll scratch the surface just a little bit. Scotty Keener asked, is there a specific technique to keel various streamers to troubleshoot swim action? So keeling streamers, there are a handful of tried and true ways to keel a streamer that we know for a fact is going to work 90% of the time. So I just started this new tying series. It's basically kind of breaking the rules of fly tying. And the very first streamer I did was the Sex Dungeon. And what I decided to do with the Sex Dungeon was make a slider head on it. The eye is tied on the underside of the hook. So with dumbbell eyes, putting them on the top of the hook versus the bottom of the hook, the top of the hook will flip the fly over. Think a clouser here, right? With a clouser, it fishes inverted. You put the dumbbell eyes on top of the hook and it inverts and you're good to go. For something like the dungeon, you tie them in on the underside of the hook so it keels true. In this pattern particularly, the eyes on the underside of the hook, coupled with the deer hair on top of the hook, the deer hair wants to float while the eyes want to sink. So what that's going to do is create a perfect keel. It's going to happen. Sliders are notoriously great for swimming true. So for dumbbell eyes, putting them on top and bottom is probably, if they're weighty enough, is probably going to fix all keel issues you're going to have. Another tried and true, just no-brainer, is a jig hook. It's gonna work. If you add any weight at all to this, jig hooks are gonna keel. They're going to. When it comes to what I call a swim fly and adding weight versus not adding weight and stuff like that, I honestly think a lot of it depends on the hook you're using. So many times, if you're not using a hook that's big enough for the fly itself, it's not gonna keel. It's going to want to fall over on its side. Everybody's seen this. What you can do if you want true no weight, always have more materials on the top of the hook versus the bottom of the hook. Whenever you have more materials on the top of that hook and the fly lands, the hook coupled with a parachute kind of on top of it is going to force the fly to keel at least enough, which is good because if you have an extremely perfect keeled hook, all you're going to get is this out of it. And you'd like to have a little bit of wobble so you get this and then this and stuff like that. So works great, but it's a fine line of tuning. And it can change from fly to fly because there's no way you're ever going to add exactly the same amount of material on top of the hook versus underside of the hook. It's just never going to happen. You can get really close. It's never going to be exact. Just trust me. So, what a lot of people have done in the swim fly world, like this fly, is to put some weight on the back end of your lead fly hook. Just a few wraps of whatever lead wire you want to put on there. And that's kind of your keel weight. It's going to force more weight to be down here on the hook. So when it does land, the weight's going to want to pull it down while everything on top is like a parachute wanting to keep it up. So you get a great keel that way as well. Next, Forestry and Fish asks, where do you see the next major innovations happening in the fly fishing / fly tying world? I'm still so optimistic about the future of our sport, both fly tying and fly fishing. On the fishing side of things, I think Orvis might end up adding a reel that helps you cast 4 times more accurate. Sorry, but you know, fly lines are constantly evolving. That there are so many good things happening with really cool companies. The fishing side of things will always innovate. It's always going to keep pushing forward. What's funny about the fly tying side of innovation is it's always stuff that just comes out of left field. Like, where did that even come from? So what I think is really, really cool is it just always blindsides you. You know, you just don't see it coming and like, oh, cool. Like really, really cool stuff happens. Materials will obviously always push forward. But what we've noticed in the last couple years is companies like Montana Fly Company taking an old product like Schlappen and doing something completely brand new with it. If you watch my videos at all, you'll already have seen that. But Montana Fly Company putting like spots and dots and arrows and all sorts of crazy stuff on feathers is... I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. So that's really cool to see a company taking a tried and true natural product and completely flipping it on its head. I think we'll continue to see more of that. I think Montana Fly Company will ramp that up, and if Montana Fly Company ramps it up, everybody else will too. And now I thought I'd do like a speed round for some stuff that may or may not. I don't know. So speed round. Ready? Sublime 505, easy flies that just flat out catch fish. Woolly bugger, San Juan worm, hare's ear. Add a popper in there too. Flies by Long, something uniquely Australian, Steve Daly. Digital J Murphy. How's it going, man? What's your favorite time of year to fish? Just all of it. All of it. But I really do lean like late winter, early spring. Color Me Cuddle. Who are influential old school bass fly tires? Now, I have a video planned that is going to go over tires that everybody may not know. And it's a great idea. It's super, super cool. It's going to come out really soon. So, yeah, to kind of play off of your question. But when I think of an old school influential bass guy, I go to one person and one person only, and it's the late, great Dave Whitlock. Period. Okay, Flyco, how tall are you? I'm holding down a strong 5'8", if I've got like real tall shoes on. Fish Britain Fish, favorite pattern for summer river bass. When I think summer, I think topwater. I'm talking gurglers, poppers. Yeah. Why a 6034? What's the best type of dinosaur to have in your fly tying room? Well, this one just happens to hold my external hard drives for me. So, yeah. Co-fish doctor, maybe? Of all the flies and streamers you have shared with us, which was the most fun to film? The OG Knucklehead. Of course. And some complete smoke show asks, why are you so awesome? I mean, just happened to marry a solid chick.